Lose weight fast and for good. 3 books in one. It includes Ketogenic Diet, Intermittent Fasting for Women, Weight Loss for Beginners, 2020 edition. Written by Mindfulness Meditation Academy. Narrated by Jane Lee.
Ketogenic Diet, the ultimate keto guide for beginners to lose weight fast. Vegetarian-friendly plan for athletes and women to get a perfect body. Reset the metabolism and get more clarity. Written by Mindfulness Meditation Academy. Narrated by Jane Lee. Chapter 1. A quick discussion of mindset. We all know that there are foods we are supposed to eat to be healthy and others that it is better to stay away from. The news is constantly flooded by articles that tell us what we can and what we cannot consume. And if that is not enough, many of these messages sent to the population today are transmitted through media, internet, and often by professionals themselves in the food sector as well. So it is understandable to be lost in a world that, on one hand, does not lose a second to put under the nose and before the eyes all kinds of desserts and, on the other, informs us about how they hurt and have a negative effect on our health and constitution, causing obesity issues and health problems. A phrase that I often heard from the lips of colleagues as a strategy of belief to resist the temptations used is the following. Remember, 10 seconds in the mouth and then 10 years in the belly. And so it is that in people, especially those who embark on a path of weight loss, conflicting feelings are created. On one side, there is the desire and the pleasure of consuming food, such as a slice of chocolate cake, while on the other, there is the sense of failure and guilt once the dessert has been eaten. Prohibited foods, self-control, and guilt, the recipe for catastrophe. The desire for forbidden foods lead to strain on our self-control by placing us in front of a late-cost dilemma. Eating that cake today means I could enjoy the flavor and social context in which consumption takes place, immediate effect. But tomorrow I will pay the consequences of my gesture with a little extra fat, delayed effect. Even in public health circles, there is a strong conviction that to establish a certain degree of guilt towards unhealthy types of foods leads people to limit themselves in the consumption of foods considered unhealthy and high in calories, pushing them towards healthier and more aware choices. For many years, this was a strategy adopted in an attempt to stem the epidemic of excessive weight gain and obesity. Unfortunately, the effects of guilt were not the desired ones. In fact, we should consider that even the sense of guilt produces 2 different realities. The reality before doing the undesirable act of consuming is a positive sense of guilt that leads us to reflect on what we want to do, and that, therefore, could have positive implications in guiding our choices. The sense of guilt that is born and continues after having consumed our forbidden slice of chocolate cake is a negative sense of guilt that hardly ever leads to positive implications, and that is the most frequent of the 2. In most cases, the motivational reason we consume foods not provided by your nutritional plan is much stronger than the sense of guilt that is perceived beforehand. Therefore, guilt does not stop us from yielding to temptation. Often, in fact, we do not even have the time to implement rational corrective actions because the impulse
Sample complete. Ready to continue?